If you took Andrew Heaton and Andy McCartney, slammed them together at high speeds, made it 3% sexier, that would be me. Hi there. My name is Charles Ray Dawson. I'm the Associate Broker Residential Sales Manager of ProStar Realty. This is the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast episode 159. So I hope you guys are all doing pretty good. I'm having a really good day. All right. I'm having a really good day. Dermatology appointment. Hey, check it out. Label. All right, I'm going to show you this shirt here in a second. Had a dermatology appointment earlier today. Any day I walk out of dermatology not bleeding is a good day. Just saying. So then got to chew up a salesperson who did not understand no at first. I wasted 16 minutes and 47 seconds of his life because at a certain point, it just gets fun for me. Don't call me trying to sell me a service that I already have and had. Listen for the you're wasting your time. Get off to the next call. All right. But I did compliment him. He did a really good job of overcoming my objections. His patter was good. I kept getting him off script and he'd come right back around. I appreciate the professionalism. All right. You're still not getting my money. Although at one point I did have him agreeing to send me $1,200. But if they go back to the tape for training purposes, they'll just realize what they just did there. So anyways, I hope you guys are having such a great day like I am. I wanted to show you my shirt. This is what I do. I podcast and I know things. This was sent to me by It was given to me by one of my fans and one of my friends, one of my former clients who knew it was my birthday. I've had this sitting up here for the last 3 weeks, but every time I come in to record, it's always da-da-da-da-da, and I always forgot to put the t-shirt on. So thank you very much for the shirt. In case I think I already said it to you, but thank you very much for the shirt. So that being said, where are we at? Highly caffeinated, little annoyed at life, having a good time. Pretty standard for Ray, you think. So numbers are news. Okay. Numbers. These are the numbers for February 14th, 2024. Active this week were 15,880, up 126 from last week. New listings were 1,969, which is actually down 332 from the previous week. Contracts were at 2,261, which is down 129 from the previous week. Our closings this week was 1,161, and coming soon to an MLS near you is 691. Now, the numbers we down here in the crop report is a little weird because our supply and our demand both went up, and they went up in the same ratio. So, supply went up to 65.6. Our demand went up to 76.9, but because they both moved up together, we still have a Cromford report number of 117.3, and I had to check that 3 times because I thought I'd made a mistake. Or had already put the number down. Breaking in our local regions and everything like that, we have not updated the phone. Why am I always... Oh, because phone call from sales guy. All right, hold on for a second. Just so you guys can see this on the fly. You get really, really ready to suddenly go back and edit this if this opens up the wrong window. Downloads. There we go. All right. So these are our Cromford report numbers and everything like that. And this is what happens when you modify in PowerPoint on the fly. We have Chandler, Gilbert, and Glendale are still leading the pack and still going up. Chandler's at the top at 195.7. We might actually see them break the 200 mark here. Fountain Hills is still trickling down. They're at -6. Got some information on Fountain Hills, and especially Paradise Valley is actually showing no change. All right, which is actually an improvement with them, right? But Scottsdale, Surprise, and Goodyear, they're all still trending down. Our buyers markets are Queen Creek, Buckeye, and Maricopa. All right, and our balanced market is Goodyear, Surprise, Paradise Valley, Cave Creek, and then from Peoria on up, it's all a seller's market. Light seller's market. Remember that. We're not really into that hot and heavy feeding frenzy yet. Although we could get there soon. A couple other numbers I got for going on in that area is, remember the contract map, the heat map I was showing you? Just some of the high contract ratio areas are Apache Junction, Chandler, Laveen, Glendale, Gilbert, Tempe, Mesa, and Sun Lakes. High contract ratio means there's a lot of contracts for what's out there on the market. Bottom of the pack, these are the places with a problem. Paradise Valley is contract ratio of 20. That means there's 5 houses on the market for every contract written. Cave Creek is at 33. 3 houses per contract. Goodyear is at 35, roughly the same numbers. Scottsdale is 36. Gold Canyon is 40, and Maricopa is 44. You notice that those all sort of translate to the areas that we see going down in the market. All right. We are not doing as well as we were last year, although we are still planning on moving up. Big thing that hit is that interest rates starting to get a little squirrely. About 3 weeks ago, they started trending up again. All right. And then that inflation thing numbers came out earlier this week, which sort of scattered everybody around. And everybody's worried that the Fed's going to suddenly take that rate drop off the table. But inflation came out, and then Janet Yellen came out like right the next day and said, yeah, but we're still looking at rate cuts. So bump, your mileage may vary. And this is why I want to talk to you about how important it is that your real estate agent keeps in contact with your lender and that your lender responds to your real estate agent when they start nammering in the corner. As the agent, you are the ringmaster of this chaos circus that is real estate. And one of the things that you got to keep in the back of your mind when you are a real estate agent is, has my buyer locked their rate yet? And if you're on the listing side, that is a completely valid question. Has the buyer locked the rate with the lender yet? Don't need to know what the rate is. Yes or no. Is it locked? Because I was talking to my favorite escrow officer, Heather King, the other day, and she'd mentioned how many cancellations she had seen. All right, and we talked it out. Now, I think the reason why those cancellations happened, supposedly under contract, during the inspection period, was that the real estate agent did not lock the rate and decided what they call floating the rate. That's where you get in a contract and they don't lock the rate in until later on in the process, right? Because they might have been anticipating rates going down. Right. So doesn't make a lot of sense to lock in a 6.75 if you think there's good money on there that's going to be at 6.5 when you close. Make sense? All right. But you need to know when that rate is locked. All right, because in this particular case, nobody anticipated 3 weeks worth of general rate hikes. All right, and what that means is a buyer who's buying right at the edge of their number. Okay, you qualify for 500, and they're looking at 500 houses. All right, and they qualify at 500 with a rate of 6.5, and then when it's time to lock, and they're suddenly at 6 and 7, 3/4. Right, they suddenly don't qualify for the loan anymore. And there's a specific line in the contract that says the buyer's inability to lock the rate at an advantageous rate to them is not a issue that gets them out of the contract because of the loan denial clause in the contract. Make sense? So lock early, lock often. Other thing about this thing is that I've noticed is you got a buyer. All right, buyer gets that pre-qual letter. That pre-qual letter is good for 90 days, right? And you take them out for 90 days and you get a house under contract at day 85. You need to make sure that they still qualify at day 85 as they did on day 1. See, these are the things that basically wind up in canceled contracts. Nobody wants a canceled contract. They're just not fun whatsoever. Last thing I want to talk about this week, and this seems to be going very fast, I'm only 9 minutes into this, was the commercials this weekend in the Super Bowl. Now, I'm a little weird. All right, I actually watch the commercials. I like the commercials. I like looking at the commercials, watching them, trying to figure out what the message is, what the demographic is. All right, how were they selling this particular brand of body soap? All right. I also knew that ProStar, which is a MLS service company that deals primarily in commercial listings. All right, you want to sell a business, you want to sell a building, you list it on ProStar. Was doing a big ad buy for the Super Bowl. I wanted to see the ads. I'm going to put the link to the commercial that they had out, the first big one, in the show notes below. All right. Now, I watched the commercial. I didn't care for it. I asked everybody I know, hey, did you see that Homes.com commercial? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you think about it? I noticed there was something really, really interested in how people responded. There's a group of people, every one of them Generation X, by the way, didn't remember the commercial, was not paying attention to the commercial. People who did not like it, okay, so, but that's still information, okay? That the commercial was not memorable enough for people to remember it. Right? That's an important bit of data to know. All right. The next thing was boomers did not like it. But those who did like it were all the millennials. Now, I watched that commercial and I realized really early off that commercial is set up for buyers. They want buyers looking at their website. Right? They want buyers doing their service, using their services. And so in that case, since we all know that the buyers right now, first-time home buyers, the buyers that are out there are the millennial tranche. We've been talking about the demographics. We've been talking about the different, age groups as they work their way through. All right. We know the boomers aren't buying right now because they already got theirs. Or else they're not selling. That's half a problem, right? But still. So here is an advertisement that went specifically towards the millennials. They had the greatest catch line, all right? We do the homework for you, or we did the homework for you, or it's us doing the homework for you, so you don't have to. Second commercial that they had come out, and I won't link to this one, was a person getting a haircut talking about the neighborhood, all right? Neighborhood with the understanding, oh, this is a scary neighborhood, something along those lines. But you would know that if you had gone to homes.com and looked up that neighborhood. All right, there's about a zillion different neighborhood research websites out there, all at different levels of, reliability. It's just interesting that they're leading with that, all right, because they understand that millennials are more likely to go to Google and start asking questions of Google before a real estate agent. Right? That makes a lot of sense of their business model. So what I'm trying to get to on this homes.com thing is, if you're a real estate agent, you're watching this, or if you're even buyer, seller, consumer, whatever, somebody who just likes advertisements and wants to know what the actual competition thinks of this commercial, they're making a really hard move towards the millennial buyer market. They're going directly at Zillow. Right? They have a different business model, all right, to monetize their presence than Zillow does. Zillow's end goal was ultimately to be the Amazon of real estate. That was their stated purpose. All right. And people still gave them money and people still worked with them and everything else. But their entire stated goal was to get rid of the mom and pop shops and have it Amazon.Zillow for as far as the eye can see. Homes is going a little bit different. They're actually addressing a major gripe that older agents had. Not this agent, because I came in before all this, but it used to be that sign that went out in front of the house was your primary source of advertising for you as an agent. And you could, statistically, depending on how good your follow-through is, on average, get one qualified, ready, and able buyer for every listing that you had, which meant older agents really focused on listings. Listers were lasters was the way that they, all said it. Right? Because for every listing you had, you pull out another buyer. That's a twofer. Yay, team. And I'm not saying that the buyer bought the house that you listed. They could have found another one. All right? But you wound up with a client that way. When Zillow came around, that went away because no longer did the buyer have to call the number on the sign to find out more about the house. They could go get to a yes or no quickly on Zillow. Drive by, look it up on Zillow, look at it on Zillow. Yes or no, do we want to take the next step? A lot of real estate agents could never get past that paradigm shift. All right. And it was an epoch level extinction event for certain real estate agents. They never realized they were no longer the gatekeepers of information. All right. And in response, Zillow started selling those leads, those unrepresented buyers, to people who would pay Zillow money. I did this great blog posting on it like years ago, breaking down their business model. I think I still got a copy of that somewhere. Actually, I do have a copy of that. So what I'll do is I'm going to make that next week's blog. So for those of you who are connected to my Facebook page, link in the show notes below. All right. You want to start following me on Facebook when I post that blog post. It's called Zulia. All right. You can read this article I was talking about. Most of the numbers, most of what is it still in effect today. That's how Zillow and truly a business model was. Homes.com trying to come in. They're not going to be selling the leads to agents, all right, because they're promising agents, hey, if that's your listing, your number is still going to be on there. They are still going to be able to reach out directly to you. It's going to be just like the old days. So I'm interested in finding out how they make money now. All right. I'm concerned that they intend to make money by having me pay Homes.com to promote more my listing on their site. So I could be featured home of the week every time you log into Homes.com from a particular zip code. Phoenix area does not do zip codes well for marketing. All right. See, the sales puke I just talked to earlier today, he wanted me to buy a zip code. You know how many zip codes there are? Some of our zip codes are less than a quarter mile wide. All right. It's 3 miles long, but it's a quarter mile long. It looks like a submarine. All right. But yeah, I'm looking at shoe 85012. But still, when you look at this this business model, and I will figure out how, I will land this plane for you, the consumer, figure out how this is going to impact you. If you look at that particular business model, I take a listing, I put it on MLS. It's out there. All right. I promote it through my social media channels. Now I got Homes.com. Now Homes.com wants me to send them money to make sure buyers out there get to see that first. What is the scroll through rate? How many houses does your average buyer look at when they're looking at Homes.com? How many of those buyers will be sophisticated enough to go, hey, Jane, I need a 3-bedroom. I need a 2-bath. I need 1,500 square feet. I need 2-car garage. And actually make those changes by logging in and setting up the account and setting up that search. How many of the, and then once they do that search, what zip codes do you want? I want these zip codes. And then boom, raise listings up at the top of it. All right. I could see that being a thing. And from the first one in my neighborhood or in my area, if I'm the first real estate agent who's doing that and paying to have that pushed up to the top, okay, you sure as hell know that's going in my listing presentation. Plus, I spend this much money to make sure you're at the top of, Homes.com when a buyer who's looking for your type of house shows up. I bet you that's what their business model is going to wind up. Right? As a consumer, as a listing, as a seller of homes, you're going to want to make sure that the person listing your home is doing this. Right? And as a buyer looking at Homes.com, you need to understand that just like Google, the very top ones are going to be paid advertisements that might not meet. See, that's my concern is like I type in a search into Google, trust in probate attorneys near me. I get 3 guys up at the top who aren't even close to me. All right, but they paid to be up at the top. All right, so maybe as a buyer, as a consumer, you might be concerned that you're not seeing the house that's perfect for you because now you got to scroll through all the advertised houses. All right. Some people think I spend too much time thinking about the future. They might be right. Or they could just be dinosaurs and haven't figured it out yet. Who knows? So ultimately, Homes.com ad below that. I'm biased in this commercial, all right? And that's why I'm discounting my own belief about this commercial. because I literally saw one of my favorite ads 2 days prior as explaining ad campaigns and how you reverse a brand. It is the Carl's Jr. Carl Sr. ad. I will also put this one in the show notes below, all right? Because the Carl Sr. ad is amazing. Carl's Jr. had a period of time where all of their advertisement was hot, sexy girls in bikinis eating hamburgers and dripping barbecue sauce on themselves. Hey, it sells burgers, all right? So, but they were getting backlash from it. Oh my God, you're sexually objecting women and this and that and the other thing. And, you know, so, and after all ad campaigns get stale. In the great words of Don Draper, the day you get your client is one day closer to when they fire you. All right. So they decided to flip it up, and they came in with a commercial with a narrative of dad's back, all of the hot, sexy girls, you know, in bikinis dripping barbecue sauce on themselves. That was all Junior. But Carl Sr.'s back, and he's fixing this. All right. I love that ad. But like I said, I literally watched it 2 days before I saw the Homes.com ad. So I saw the Homes.com ad. All right. And that's all I saw. Oh, great. Carl Jr. just took over Homes.com. That was sort of my vibe for it. But realizing that I had been biased against that particular style of commercial, I decided to not watch it. Or at least discount my own opinion of that commercial. So don't know what I got on this, but like I said, show notes below. Watch the two commercials. Really tell me what you think. All right. And if you do comment and below, if I don't know you, even if I do know you, put your age in there, or at least put your demographic in there. Are you a boomer? Are you a millennial? Are you a zoomer? Whatever it is. Okay. Let's see if I'm not wrong in that being specific, right? Especially on Homes.com. Carl's Jr. ad, you know, see if you tell me if you see what I saw in that ad, all right, of reforming the brand. So, okay. So, last thing, you might be looking at the title, "You're Funny and Smart Agent." I've been the smart agent. I'm the smartest guy in the room. Honestly, don't believe me. All right. If there's less than 99 people in that room, the odds are I'm the smartest one there. But I'm also funny, damn it. All right. So, talking with somebody else about branding and this and that and the other thing, and it's like, she's like, well, you're not my funniest friend. You're not my smartest friend. And I'm like, but I'm the perfect combination of the two, right? Not too funny, not too smart. Right? Like chocolate and peanut butter. I stick to your thighs. All right. Oh, and sticking to other things, watch your children and pet around water. All right. We lost a child out in Peoria this week in the swimming pool because nobody thinks the pool is a threat when it's too cold to go swimming. Those things are open hell mouths. They're always dangerous to children and pets if there's water in it, even if there's not water in it. All right. And in fact, if you want to just pump all the water out and fill it in, give me a call. I know a guy. All right. I think the rain's over for a bit. But still, if it's flooded, don't drive in it. All right. Keep working your circles now more than ever. Do not stress about things that you have no impact over. All right. And you guys have a great weekend, and I'll catch you guys next week. Or later if I can actually get this turned off.